Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Kitchings Table. Here to join you every morning, Tuesday, 10 a.m. is the time. We're always glad to be with you. Earl Kitchings, your host. And we are so thankful that we are able to bring this opportunity of information to you via awesome radio, 106.9 WBISLP. You can also catch us on social media apps or platforms at YouTube, Facebook Live, Roku, and of course, GPAC 23, wherever you can find us. Pick us up, give us a listen. We're only going to take up 50 minutes of your day. Hopefully that gives you enough time to get whatever information we're bringing to you and make it possible to have a great day, an impactful day. Before we get started, we want to give our prayers to the people down there in Puerto Rico. They are battling, again, another tough situation with the Hurricane Fiona hitting that island again and devastating it. They never recovered the first time 5 years ago, and understanding that the monies that were sent down there to help them build and prepare for this, not all that money got distributed. I don't know why we have such situations where money is provided. People in charge of the money want to keep the money for themselves or do things for themselves and their friends or whatever the situation is. The money got there is not being used correctly. But anyway, keep your prayers for those people up and also for the people in the other islands as that storm prepares to move in a northwestern projection. What comes after Puerto Rico comes the Bahamas, and they've already dealt with a situation at the same time. So let's keep those people in mind and keep them in our prayers as we go forward today. But today, going to have a little fun with you. Thought we'd find something that everyone is familiar with in this day and time, especially those people who love to partake in delicious foods. Our topic for the day is foodie, please, the food truck industry. 10 years ago, you may have seen a few, one or two, three, four, maybe five at the time. Today, those numbers have spiked up. That industry has become a growing industry whereby you see not only the people who have the trucks and provide the different venues and menus of food for you, but you also see that the suppliers, you've seen an uptick in what they provide and how they provide those food items and the condiments and paper and other products related to that, the beverage. Everything is just like what a restaurant is, except that, of course, a food truck is what? Mobile. That's correct. It moves around from location to location. Wherever there's a need or wherever there's a hot spot, that truck will move to that location and provide the customers what they need. And of course, just like anything else, food trucks develop a following. They develop a group of people who, if they see that particular truck at a particular location, they're either going to stop or they're going to give a positive word about the owner and the location of that truck being something you may want to partake in because the menu item is so great. As we continue to face this supply chain debacle, I won't call it a debacle, challenge, because it is definitely that. Suppliers have the products and merchandise, getting it on trucks to get it to places where it needs to get is another one of the issues. Listening to the news this morning, they were talking about how the chicken industry is starting to see the supply challenge affect it. Some parts of the chicken are not as available as other parts. So, and of course, for all you wing lovers, that product has seen a dramatic downturn in being able to supply people with that particular product for people who love to enjoy wings. So Wing Palace, Wingstop, whatever your favorite place is for wings, Pizza Hut, Domino's, these places augment and must have these items in order to make their businesses continue to flourish. But when the supply drops, everything goes down. One restaurant is now charging double for the same food item, same menu item they had on their menu maybe a year ago. They're now charging double because the product supply has been interrupted unlike never before. So we're going to talk about the food truck industry this morning, as our title says, Foodie Please. And of course, a food truck is a large motorized vehicle where it is equipped to cook, prepare, serve, and sell food. And we've seen that in either a truck or in a trailer. They call it a food truck, but then again, there are businesses who now take a pickup truck and pull a trailer that serves as that place of providing the menu and the food items. But they're basically the same thing. And when you think about food trucks, I guess the most popular food truck that we are familiar with would probably be the old ice cream truck. Now, you may not think about it from that context, but then again, think about it. Ice cream is food, right? Because you go to the grocery store and buy ice cream, so it must be food. And when you think about the one truck that everyone knew about, it was the ice cream truck. And the ice cream truck had one thing they most, or if not all of them had. When you hear the sounds of music or bells ringing in your neighborhood, you knew it was the ice cream truck. And you would dash in the house, get your money, dash out to try to make sure you caught the truck before it made its circle in your neighborhood. Because once it went down your street and turned and went somewhere else, it wasn't coming back. It was going on to some other streets in your neighborhood. So you wanted to catch it when it was on your street. So if you lived at the first part of the street and you heard that, man, and you weren't ready, you had to get your money and run that truck down to the end. If you're at the end, it gave you enough time to prepare. But no matter what, that was probably our first real interfacing with what we call today food trucks. So ice cream, selling ice cream off a truck, frozen foods, prepackaged foods, the onboard kitchens, as they call them, preparing delicious menu items from scratch, cooking them right there in the truck with gas. All of these opportunities nowadays are commonplace. You even have locations where food trucks will gather, 5 or 6, 7, 8 of them at one time, and kind of create a food truck rodeo. And people will just drive up and get their items. And these food trucks have become very, very popular. They are, I guess, a mobile fast food restaurant, if you want to call it that. You do have to stand in line and wait for your items to be prepared. So there is a wait, but you're going to wait if you're going to a fast food restaurant anyway, as opposed to a brick and mortar restaurant where you come in. If it's crowded, you got to sit and wait for the hostess to give you your number and your allotted time to come in. So you come in and they tell you, well, it's going to be 30 minutes. Well, you're going to wait 30 minutes if that's where you want to eat today. So if you got to wait in line 15 minutes at a food truck, hey, what's the big deal? So the food truck industry is definitely on the rise. And so much so that chefs and restaurants are looking at these mobile food venues to be their opportunities to get into communities and get their name and products known. It's a very smart move, very interesting move, because here's some of the economical statistical facts about the food truck industry. It has now grown to be a $2 billion a year industry. $2 billion. If you wanted to start up a food truck, the low end is at $50,000. The truck and the equipment, all you things you're going to need, your licensing, your health certificate, all these things are part of it. And what they're saying here is based on U.S. Foods Research, is where we got our information, is that the average revenue that food trucks generate is just around $290,000, just short of $300,000, but around $290,000. So if you wanted to start a food truck at 50 and you're in the right situation, the right city, the right locations, you can make I guess that's the beauty of the food truck. You can be one place today, and if it's not very successful, you find another spot and you just find spots. Or if you're in a place where there is offices and you want to park at that place and be that restaurant, on-site restaurant for them on a regular basis, every day you know that, hey, between 11 and 2, that's where you're going to be located. And people know you're going to be there because, again, people have minimal amount of time for lunch breaks. For those who have to do it within 30 to 45 minutes, others who have a little bit longer, it's not a big deal. So they look forward to it. And of course, we all know that the most effective advertising means is word of mouth. Although television does a superior job, word of mouth, man. You got a coworker or a friend or whomever talking about what they got at that food truck and how good the food is, you're going to take a shot at it. So those are the facts. A $2 billion a year industry, $50,000 startup, and they average about $290,000 a year. The one thing you want to do with your food truck is this: make yourself stand out from the crowd, which in this particular industry, making your truck stand out from everybody else's truck, that's the first thing, because what they see first is the truck. As with anything, perception is everything. And in the food industry, perception is everything. So if you have a very creative, colorful looking truck, if the smell coming from your truck is very good for those who are cooking the hot food, then hey, stand out from the crowd and make whatever you're doing happen so that you can draw people in. For the cold items such as ice cream and things of that nature, or desserts, because I'm sure there are some trucks out there that specialize more so in desserts than just hot food. Make that stand out. When you tap into those things, you become, or you prepare yourself to build your clientele. And we all know that our clientele is so important to the success of our business. And I cannot state this, and I can't overstate it: customer service. Customer service. The better your customer service is, the better your clientele will be and grow. Bad news travels fast. Good food and how good it is equals that. So if the food is good, the word on your menu is going to travel fast. But anything from a negative perspective, bad food, bad service, especially bad service. You can have the best food, but if your service is poor, it's going to take a hit. So keep two things in mind if you're going to do a business, no matter what it is. Number one, customer service is your number one priority. I'm not going to say the customer is always right, although that precept is going to always be there. But customer service. Take a page from the best customer service fast food restaurant in America, if not the world, but definitely in America. Chick-fil-A has the best customer service in the fast food industry, bar none. Take a page from them, do it the way they do it, and I guarantee you, you'll see your customer increase. So from a food cart, and we remember food carts, the little stands that would be on the sidewalks, those have evolved into food trucks. You don't see the food carts as much as you see the food trucks. So they've been closing. As the food carts close, the food trucks open, and it has allowed the dining experience to be a little bit different. Some food trucks even will offer maybe chairs or pop-up tables if they can afford it, so that when you show up, you can sit down and eat. And what research has showed and discovered is 50% of people like to dine out. They miss eating out. People like to eat out. It's an experience. It's a great thing to do. And eating out at least once a week is what people in this country tend to do 38% of the time. So when you've got this food truck and you can take it to the people, to a location, it benefits you and it helps, because as you do this, it makes everything more palatable for your customers. And trust me, if you're running late some days to your site, they may not be there when you get there, but they're going to want to know what happened. And of course, things happen. We talk about the supply chain. Traffic can happen. You could get a flat tire on your way to your site. So things do happen. And of course, the creative businesses, when they have things to go wrong, they make up that day or whatever they did not get done that day to the customers, and maybe get something free or something extra. You might buy some food and they give you a dessert extra, or an extra drink, whatever they need. Give you a coupon for something that they're going to come up with, a new food item. They give you a sample of the new food item, whatever it is to keep you engaged in their business. Again, customer service, you keep people engaged. So what they say is that a food truck is a kitchen on wheels. It has the ability to shift from location to location, from demand area to demand area. And again, once you find your area of particular patronization, you stick with that. So if you make out a schedule where you're going to be one place on Monday, another place on Tuesday, another place on Wednesday, and just recycle that. If you're going to be certain places on the weekends, you want to make sure you're at that one place so that people will come back. Now, I have a friend here who didn't really have a truck. He did like a trailer and started in a location, and that location has been there for like 4 years. He has not moved. He's working to expand. When you're expanding, you got to keep your, that trailer up. Your cooking equipment has to get increased, especially when you're doing things like barbecue, food like that off the grill. You can start with a medium-sized smoker. As your demand picks up, you got to increase your smoker, because you got to increase the amount of food you prepare. And from his very outset to now, I know I've seen him go through about 5 smokers from, and they make these smokers from old propane tanks, or they build them out of, these metal tubular looking things with the grills. I know I've seen him go through at least 2 single door mobile pits, to now he's got a double pit grill. Now he's even got an automatic smoker that runs directly from a gas tank to this smoker to keep the food warm and hot. So he's constantly evolving, but he's staying at that one location. And then once that location became popular, he opened a second location in another city, which was close to where he is. Not too far, maybe about 15 miles away. So these are the things you want to keep in mind when you're doing the food truck. And again, for $50,000 to start up, it's probably going to take you at least a year, maybe, to recapture or to break even on your 50,000, maybe a little bit longer. But again, stick with it. Stick with your plan. And again, customer service and good food. So then the other part of having a good food truck is making sure, as with any business, you got good employees. And again, training employees to have good customer service is the key. Saying thank you and please and how you may be of help, and engaging the customer from a very friendly perspective. These are all keys to making your business, especially food truck, successful. So additional information says that 80% of food truck customers choose to eat at mobile kitchens because they offer a different or unique dining experience. And what it's saying too is that we already told you that this industry has gone 2 billion. Additional data shows that it's almost at 4 billion in 2020. And it's expected to keep growing at about a 7% clip. So from 2021 to 2028, they're projecting that the food truck industry will grow at about 7%. And there's some other factors that's going to affect that. One of the things they talk about is gastronomy, which is your inner organs and how they work. What you eat, how you eat it. You know, if that food sits well with you, then you don't mind going and eating out. The age differences will be between 16 and 34, who are looking for a different experience rather than the traditional restaurants made of brick and mortar. And that age group doesn't mind driving to that location. This is what they're saying. They don't mind driving to the location to get good food. So the countries where you're seeing the uptick increase in food trucks, the US, China, and the United Kingdom have seen cancellations of events such as food festivals and parades, which has been a downturn for food trucks, but then again, at the same time, it's still going up. Store closures or restaurant closures due to COVID have been a major factor, which has caused the brick and mortar restaurants to see about a 50% decline in business. So a lot of the restaurants that were once open, that were popular, have declined, or just people aren't coming there anymore. So they've gone out of business. Again, when one door closes, another door opens. So the brick and mortar restaurants have closed. So now you see the door swing open for the food trucks. And as the food truck industry continues to grow, there's standard menu items, but they're also suggesting, if you're going to be in this business, that gourmet food truck sales and unique food concepts are projected to be on the uprise and will be at a demand for food trucks. So again, specialize, customize, whichever you got to do in order to, as they say, make your niche in the business happen. You make your niche happen and let that be what you do. A lot of times people start with one thing that's working. It may take a little while for it to work well, but it's working. And then you diversify and try to expand. And some things are just not your forte, so you should just stay away from them. I know as an entrepreneur, I was once in the souvenir business at college football games. So I want you to think about when you go to a college football games. I'm not going to even discuss the pros. Pros is kind of different, but college football games, the people selling the souvenir merchandise, the caps, t-shirts, sweatshirts, seat cushions, pom-poms, pennants, flags, and anything else you can think of. I was once in that business. Started off with just t-shirts and grew it to where by the time I got out of the business, I had built the business where we offered about 15, maybe 20 items. And 20 items could be at a game, 4 different t-shirts, 3 different caps, seat cushion, pom-poms, flags, bumper stickers, magnetic signs to go on the side of your car, key rings, squeeze bottles, ran the gamut. Even had one of my best friends, he had a relative that made custom caps. His caps were the most unique caps made, and in this city where we were in Jacksonville, that cap became popular. So offering it to people who had seen other people wearing the cap, it became a popular thing. And we did a good job of putting all these things in place at these games. And what we came to find out is a couple of things. Number one, the way we set up, make it look as professional as possible. Don't put all your merchandise on the table so people can grab it, touch it, feel it. Don't do that. Offer customer service beyond anybody's wildest imagination is how you deal with the public. We had people to go out in the stands to sell merchandise. We didn't send people out where they had to make change for people out of their pocket. We gave them aprons with our business name on the apron so that if you saw us, you would recognize who we were. The money was in their apron so you can make change. People could see you right there making changes. It gave a different look than just digging in your pockets. And if there was a problem with any product we sold, not what competitors sold, that we sold, we did not mind taking it back and replacing it with an item of similar choice or value. And one of the things I used to enjoy doing was when I saw other people bring they may have purchased a t-shirt at another vendor, walk up to our stand with the t-shirt under their arm, looking at our merchandise. And I instantly recognized and asked them, did the vendor not give you a bag for your merchandise? Would you shop at a department store not to get a bag for your merchandise? And I didn't have a problem with putting someone else's shirt in one of my bags, which included a coupon, and my bags were stamped with my name on it, our business name on it. Putting that bag, that item in our bag. Whether they bought something or not, it didn't matter. Just the fact of doing that customer service, it engaged the customer to ask something about what we were selling. Now, they may not have bought the top of the line item that we had, because sometimes we even had the baseball type satin jackets, again, hooded sweatshirts, regular sweatshirts. We even used to sell customized warm-ups for kids. But putting that item in the bag engaged the customer and showed them how valuable they may become as a customer And what happened from that was the customer would engage in a conversation and ask about a product. And 9 out of 10 times, they would buy something else. Simple. So when we talk about customer service, always keep that in mind. Hey, this is the Kitchings Table, heard every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on Awesome Radio, WBISLP, 106.9 FM. Always glad to be with you, Earl Kitchings, bringing you another edition. Our topic today is Foodie Please, the food truck industry, and where this industry has come from and how it is growing. It is now going to be, by the year 2024, a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's already $2 billion. They're predicting it to be $4 billion by the time they get to 2028. So, again, gourmet, unique food items, and that's why I got into my story about what we did, because we were unique. We used to have competition from about 4 or 5 other vendors, and I tell you, this is a fact. At a major game, we observed if there were 5 people at another vendor, because we could see them from where we were located, if there were 5 vendors at their table, there were 20 at ours. Just stating a fact. So what is saying from Restaurant Times USA that more than 60% of millennials choose food truck serving authentic as well as unique meals rather than go to a brick and mortar restaurant. 60%. What a downturn for those brick and mortar restaurants. So when we talk about these food trucks having an impact, and we talk about, how much it costs, we talked about $50,000. The other thing is this: you can get your food truck up and running in about 30, 35 days, whereas a brick and mortar restaurant sometimes will take up to 3 months, 90 days, a little bit longer depending. But here's something to think about as this industry continues to grow. Major food and fast food chains are starting to look at investing in the food truck business. Dunkin' Donuts, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, Hard Rock Cafe, McDonald's, they're studying. And can you imagine seeing a McDonald's truck or a Dunkin' Donuts truck, a Starbucks food truck on a corner near you? That is coming. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. It is coming. And because those companies have the financial capital to make the trucks do what they do at a higher level, they're going to find a way to make that work, because whatever it takes to make that sector of the food business popular and happening for them, they're going to make it happen. So if cooking McDonald's burgers and fries, just imagine, just think about right now what a McDonald's food truck would look like. A little bit bigger than what you're normally seeing, a little bit more creative. They can, make it, have the pop-up tents, have the seating arrangements. They can do it at a whole nother level and be increasing their share of the market. So based on a study by Mobile Cuisine Incorporated, up to 40% of conventional commercial restaurants entered into the food truck industry in 2015. If you haven't seen them, they're coming. If you haven't seen one of these fast food chains with their trucks, they're coming. Now, the thing about that is this: they will offer what you traditionally see at their brick and mortar restaurants. So it won't be as unique. That's the only difference that you will find in these restaurants. But they're going to be out there, so be on the lookout for them. Now, when we talk about the vans or the trucks themselves, you're going to see an uptick in the types of trucks. And they call them, they got different ways of classifying them: expandable boxes, buses, vans, customized trucks, whatever, trailers, whatever is your preference to whatever you want to use to make your particular food truck work. That's what's coming. That's what's on the horizon. Again, the food truck industry is here. So we talked about the way this industry is working. They talk about the food consumption, the type of items. Because you don't have the overhead that a brick and mortar have, it's a little bit low cost. You can have a much more variety. They're even talking about the vegan and meal plant segment growing by 10% by 2028. You're seeing these operators, the segment just continue to grow. So between Mexican food, vegan food, meal plant food, barbecue and snacks, everything is on the uptick. Everything is going up. So just be on the lookout. And if you are interested in doing that, remember, we indicated that it's about $50,000 to set it up. Here's a quick checklist of the things you may want to look into before you actually start your food truck, if you're serious about it. Licenses and paperwork. You need to get an operating, health code, and business license. That's the first step. After you make up your plan of what you're going to sell and how you're going to do it, that is what you're going to need. Location and food permits, temperature logs, and signage, sanitation practices and schedules, food storage regulation, internal temperatures. Those things are the first things on the list you need to make sure you take care of before you even delve into a food truck. All the legal and liability issues, take care of them first. If not, it's going to come back to bite you, and your $50,000 investment is going to get eaten up because now you're in the courtroom with legal issues. The next thing is ensure all food is safe for consumption. Refrigerate it, clean it, prepare it, use gloves, netting to keep insects out. Be mindful of raw meat, especially seafood, poultry. Keep them from coming in contact with other meat. So don't cook or put the same food. Don't put the poultry in the same containers with the beef or the fish. Keep everything separated. Then it says maintain food safety by checking your equipment and protocols every day. Make sure everything has been cleaned thoroughly. Temperatures, check the temperature on your food. Sanitation, you can't do enough cleaning. You can't wipe it down enough. You can't keep it clean enough. I'd rather you be overly protected from that standpoint as opposed to, someone getting sick, because as soon as they get sick from your food truck, your name comes off, their name goes on, or you no longer exist. And you may have to work some other job to pay off that legal bill. And then finally says maintain cleaning and sanitation, hygiene practices, protocols, clean and sanitize prep areas, cooking appliances, kitchen tools, dispose of food waste, garbage, recycle daily. That checklist, it's online. You can go out there and get it from US Food Chef Store, chefstore.com. You can go find it, that whole checklist of the things you need to do in inspection for your food truck. So our pantry section today, as we slowly get ready to wind down, is about something you may have heard of and something you may have not have heard of. It's called the no tipping movement. The no tipping movement. Something that's, as the food truck industry rises, something else rises too. And we know most of the times when we go to a restaurant, The normal gratuity amount is 15 to 18% of whatever our bill is. So if you go out and spend $10, the expected gratuity or tip amount is $1.50 to $1.80, 15 to 18%. Now you can always leave more. You shouldn't leave less, but if service is poor, you don't have to tip a thing. You don't tip and you don't go back. So there's a no tipping movement on the horizon. It's slowly growing. And let's start with what a tip is. A tip is money specifically allocated to your service team, but it's not considered a part of the payroll. A tip is beyond what they make on their hourly wage. So if their hourly wage for waitresses and waiters, which is different than what you may think, that wage may be, say, $8 an hour or $7 an hour, because what they'll make up in tips will bump that hourly rate up. So the tip is what waiters and waitresses look to make most of their money from. And this is something that has been common practice, specifically in the food business, in the brick and mortar sit down restaurant, not the fast food restaurant, but where you have a waiter or waitress come take your order. You normally are expected to leave a tip. Now, that tip, and some waiters and waitresses can make $300 a night, depending on the restaurant you work at, depending on the clientele that comes in. Some can make $100 a night. Some can make $200-$300 a night, depending. Weekends, you're definitely going to see your tips, increase. Again, customer service is what makes the difference. If you are dissatisfied with the food, you talk to the manager and let them know you're dissatisfied. But as far as if that waitress or waiter is not up to what you think they should be, you can either talk to the manager, or the best message to send a waiter or waitress who gives you poor service: don't leave a tip. That sends a message very clear, because a waiter or waitress would have to ask the question, why didn't they leave me a tip? They didn't leave me a tip. Well, it might be a reason. Maybe they didn't like your service. Maybe your service was slow. Maybe you took care of other customers better than you took care of them. Whatever the reason, as a professional in this industry of waiting on people, let your customer service shine like the sun. Greet people with a smile, personality, be attentive to what they need. As they say, you promise little and deliver more. Promise little, deliver more. But what is now starting to happen is the businesses that operate restaurants where they are expecting a tip, or a tip has been expected, they're moving away from that. Now, I do know that in other service businesses, such as hygiene, nail salons, barbershops, hair salons, tipping the barber or the hairstylist or the nail tech, that's a part of what goes on too, those tips. Again, service poor, no tip. Not satisfied with something going on, talk to the manager, talk to the person in charge. Let them know how you feel. Let them deal with their employee. But what is starting to happen now, since 2015, is that gratuity-free establishments started happening, and what they are replacing gratuity or tips with is what they call a service charge. A service charge. And the service charge will just be included in your bill. So you don't have to leave a tip. So if you go out and you spend $20 and you see that your service charge for that is $3, your bill is $23. It's just that simple. You don't have to leave a tip anymore. It's going to already be factored into your bill. Like it or not, if that's the way that restaurant operates, that's the way they operate. And as I learned years ago when I first got into being my own boss and having my own business, you as a customer have two choices. You can patronize or not patronize a business. Those are your two choices. Either you do or you don't. You have a choice. You don't have to, or if you choose to, don't do it and be doing it begrudgingly, you know. Again, if you have a problem, take it to management. So understand that when the service charge is added into your bill and there's no gratuity expected, you don't have to leave one. If you choose to leave a gratuity in addition to the service charge, your choice. Your choice. Just remember that gratuity is expected to be 15 to 18%. So if you see something that says service charge, that's an automatic tip that you don't need to leave a tip for the people waiting on you or serving you. Let it be in the bill. Now, if someone goes beyond what you expected, you can always pull them aside and tip them what you feel their service warrants. If someone did an exceptional job, forget about the service charge and take care of that person. Because the next time that waiter or waitress sees you when they come in, guarantee you they're going to want to wait on you and give you that same service. Give you that same service because, hey, they understand how the business game is played in this food service business. If I give good service, I'm going to be rewarded. If I give poor service, I won't be rewarded. Simple, dry cut. So please be on the lookout as you move forward in this new movement that's coming in. A no tipping movement is leading to service charge included in your bill, so you don't have to do a tip. And as a New York Times article cited, a lot of times we're pressured into feeling we must leave a tip, but some people don't feel pressured and they don't feel like, they need to leave a tip. However, again, your choice as the customer. And again, if you're doing what you're supposed to do as a business, if your employees understand the business, then it won't be an issue. So implementing a service charge may help a business stay ahead of the game, may improve the number of people they may be able to employ. If you're going to do a service charge versus a tip, let your customers know. You should look for, as a customer, you should look for. If you're the business, let your customers know, give them a heads up. And you can do that either by putting it on the menu, putting it a sign at the door when you come in, putting it on your website, putting it on your social media, whatever you got to put it to let people know. So you're fair and equitable to them too, because you do want people to return to your business. Same thing if you're going to do that with a food truck. And a food truck may have a tip jar on the counter. However, they may start to go to this no-tip movement to where a service charge will just be included. So just be mindful that service charge, i.e. tip, it's just some extra to take care of the people doing the service or the people preparing the food. You know, the chefs and the cooks, they get taken care of. It's the people that bring you the food. That's what that is all about. Okay? Very good. Well, that's going to do it for us today here on the Kitchings Table. Join us every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. on WBISLP, Awesome Radio 106.9. Also, you can follow us on YouTube, Facebook Live, Roku, and GBAC23, whatever platform you can find us. So, again, we thank you for joining us. Tell your friends about the show. We're always glad to bring you some information, impart some knowledge and wisdom on you that you did not know or maybe thought about but didn't know how to find it. Again, we ask that you stay safe in these days still of COVID and monkeypox, and please pray for those people in the islands as the first serious hurricane on the East Coast takes effect, already in Puerto Rico, looking to move toward the other islands, Bahamas in particular. So until next Tuesday, I'm Earl Kitchings, your host, saying so long, have a great week. Do something positive for someone else today. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.